When you go to New Mexico State, remind me, is this when the world was starting to open up with transferring and NIL yet?
No, it was the year before, so it might have been 2021, 2022.
Yeah, because I'm asking because I'm thinking.
I think it's
all right,
2022. So NIL just started creeping up.
So you're probably thinking JUCO. This is probably the best route so far with New Mexico State. If I ball out here, I can get to a better program. Were you even thinking that yet?
Nuh-uh. I was thinking shit. Well, I lived in New Mexico my whole life, so it was like I wanted to play against the Lobos, and that's our rival school. And the Lobos, the first year I was in and out of the lineup playing with this other kid, and the only game I did not get to play was against the Lobos. So the next year I was like, this is a money game. Played against the Lobos. There's a little story about it that before the year I pissed on their Lobo, like in the midfield of their indoor, and like before the game, no one said anything about it, and they were using it as fuel, and they thought they were gonna beat us and then be like use it against me after, you know what I mean? Anyway, went in there, wiped them out. The head coach was all sad and stuff. But I really had something against them because they didn't recruit me either out of JUCO and I won a national championship. They were still losing and or at a high school. So it was like real life, like beef with the coaches.
It was personal for you.
Yeah.
So you're thinking
it's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm from this state. I want to go to this school. I'm assuming you want to go to the Lobos.
Yeah.
And then they don't offer, and it's like,
they
I'll
don't
show you.
Yeah. Now I got to go piss on their logo.
Now I got to piss on your logo. What transpired?
A tale as old as time.
Yeah. What conversations had to take place, or what went through your brain where you're like, you know what? I know how to get these boys. I'm going to urinate on the 50-yard line.
Sure, probably wasn't a whole lot of thought process.
Yeah. But before
there was
you
no
answer,
thought. There was no thoughts.
Before you answer that question,
what was your strategy? It wasn't. I thought it'd be funny.
Before you answer that question, I have a question for Will Compton. What is Lobo Spanish for?
No clue.
Oh, Will.
Lobos? Chicken?
Will.
No, that's polo.
What's your favorite
Polio.
animal?
What's
Wolf.
their mascot?
Oh.
That's a tough L for Will Compton. The tough L for Will Compton.
Starts with an L.
But yeah, what's the thought process? We're like,
There was no thinking. It was just like,
yeah, you don't say.
fuck these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's some Blue Mountain State type shit. Like you grew up on Johnny Manziel, Blue Mountain State. What's the one with Billy Bob?
Varsity
Blues. Like he just put
one.
the VCR tapes in as a kid. I was like, this is gonna be my fucking life. This is what I'm doing. So you just went and pissed in the 50-yard line. How did they find out that you did that?
So the guy who I was with, Reggie,
Yeah,
he posted on Snapchat, and then they
so you were with a buddy, and he was Snapchat.
I was with like 3 buddies.
look at this picture. This fucking cat got sweatpants on.
I was with like 3 buddies, and one of them recorded it, but I didn't know. And then I came back to my phone, and they're like, "Hey, tell Reggie to take that off." And I took it off, and it was too late.
They already got a hold of it.
I already got a hold of it.
The news network of New Mexico.
Yep.
They jumped all over that shit.
Did you whoop their ass?
Hell yeah.
What was the score of that game?
We beat them by like 10,
Okay, so you guys.
10-14, something like that.
Okay.
When does it start to sink in, or like when does the conversations and thought process start to happen that I can go somewhere else now?
So what happened was at New Mexico State, we were 2-3, ended up 10-3. So like by game, we're like on a win streak, and we're about to go to the conference championship and stuff. And so like before that, like a game before when we're like 9-3, my coach gets in my ear like, "Hey, I got someone calling me from a Power 4 school. You'd really like it. I want you to come with me when the season's over." I was like, all right, bet. Like, this is my opportunity, you know? And so he's doing his thing, and then it's our offensive coordinator. So our offensive coordinator at the end of the season leaves, and he's like, all right, I'm going to Vandy. And so he wanted me to come with him, but Coach Kill's still at New Mexico State. Then Coach Kill a week later decides to retire. And then I was like, okay, well, if I hire the defense coordinator, then I'll stay. Didn't hire him. That was my sign. Laters.
So if New Mexico State were to hire the DC, you would have stayed.
I would have stayed. Yeah.
Gotcha.
What was about the DC that you were like, they got to hire this guy?
He was real. He was gonna pay me the money I wanted.
Okay.
And he was the one who, like, our defense was really good in Mexico State. So I was thinking, okay, well, we could win here, and then there's like a chance like how Boise State went to the playoffs, like that we'd be that team.
Mm-hmm.
That whole team was freaking stacked. Like we got Eli, we got me, Eli, MK, Trent. Well, these are just guys on the team.
You're
but-
saying first names to me,
Yeah. I'm just saying first names too.
but these guys are dogs.
But we got dogs on the team. We got like
Yeah.
7 of the guys from New Mexico State team on the Vanderbilt team.
And was there a situation where you were possibly going to go be a part of the Wolfpack, Nevada?
I committed to Nevada.
So this is while you're at New Mexico State. You go on a little visit.
So I took some visits, and the whole time that I'm taking visits, I'm like, back in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to Vandy. So the whole time I have a notebook that I'm taking on these visits. I really didn't know how to read a defense when I was at New Mexico State, and I'm like just penciling in, like just meeting with the offensive coordinators, how they read the defense, middle close, middle open, blitz, how they call, and I'm just taking little like details away from these offensive coordinators, just in case I do go back to Vandy, like how to clean stuff up.
Okay.
And this when you were looking and taking visits and thinking about Vandy,
Right.
was Coach Kill, had he not retired yet?
So he retired, and then I was like, because Coach Kill's like basically kind of like my dad, and so like when he retired, I was like, I'm just going to Nevada. Like Nevada, I really like Nevada. I like Coach Choate, and then I commit that night, and I call Coach Beck, who's the offensive coordinator at Vandy, and I'm like, hey, like I'm committed to Nevada. Like appreciate you guys. He's like, wait, I got someone to call you. Coach Kill calls me, tell me he's coming out of retirement to be basically just be on the Vanderbilt staff and just take care of the offense. So then my mom was like, yeah, you're going to go to Vandy. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to Vandy.
And have you been to Vandy at this point yet?
No, I never took a visit.
So you had no idea about Nashville, Tennessee, or the area, or nothing like that. You
No
just saw
idea.
you saw SEC and thought,
I knew
that's
they were in the
second best
SEC.
conference. I got to get there,
What'd you throw in there?
right?
Are you good?
Go with what? Did I say something?
Do you know the 3 conferences of the NFL? AFC, NFC, and the SEC.
But
But-
the 2 last national champions were from the Big Ten, right?
But who has
So like,
more?
how are you gonna?
But is there more in the Big Ten or SEC?
What do
This
you mean,
new
national
era, this new
championships?
era of college football has to kind of play out.
Yeah, like the NIL has established a level playing field. Like we all
Okay.
can sit here.
Everybody
let's-
can pay players now.
Right, everybody can pay players, not just one conference. Because you're right, it is AFC, NFC, and SEC if we're talking about paychecks. But now that everybody can pay everybody, it's like, okay, now it's just AFC, NFC, and then the rest of college football.
So do you think the Big Ten has a higher percentage of winning it this year or the SEC?
The Big Ten.
Big Ten. The national title?
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Ten.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, listen.
You got
You
some
guys know
SEC
what's about to
dogs
come
in
out
the
of my
back.
mouth.
Do what?
You guys know.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Is that
They-
double?
Oh, that's more than double. But if you look at the recency, like that, so those 43 national championships, how many of those came after NIL started? That's the question you got to ask. Because the SEC, yeah, you guys are going to have national champions. You guys are paying 7 figures to players.
It's probably like
when
2
I was
and
in
2.
college.
It's probably like 2 and 2.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, 2 and 2.
You're saying the Big Ten didn't pay players?
I know. I
No,
didn't
we
get
were
paid.
there. This is a clean conference.
Clean conference.
High character conference.
Yep.
Don't do that.
As
As far as I know.
Hey,
so-
2 and 2.
As far as I know.
2 and 2.
Right, 2 and 2, and the last 2 have been.
I could, if we were
The
having
Big
this
Ten.
podcast in 2022, I would have said the last 2 have been in the SEC.
But we're not, right? If we were, if this was 1912, we'd be talking about how the Titanic sunk a couple months ago. Like, what are we talking about? Like, if I could go back in time, I would invest in Netflix.
That
But
would
like,
be
we're
good.
just, yeah, exactly. We're living in the now, brother. You
is
talk
true.
about crazy shit.